Hey, Jackie.
Hi.
What?
What are you doing? I'm wearing your shirt.
I know. I'm wearing my shirt too. I'm wearing my new shirt.
Yay! Is your shirt the same kind of material as this shirt? Is it like the soft one?
Yeah, yeah. Is it I can't remember which one you get. Is that the tri-blend one?
Yeah, I think so. It's like soft.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of grayish, or is it black?
Yeah, it's gray. It's like a
yeah. It's the same. It's the Yeah, I really like this lightweight tri-blend American Apparel.
Yeah, it's really soft. I like it.
So I offer that. So when I do shirts, I offer that and just like the standard black, which is like also American Apparel, but it's not a mixed blend. And those are actually pretty comfortable too. People tell me my shirts are very comfortable. So I'm just saying, if you want a comfortable shirt, you know, I'm shucking shirts now.
You're shucking shirts. I like that. That's good.
Well, you know,
my friend Jacqueline at Blizzard actually sent me. So I came home the other day and there was a package on the porch, and this is sort of the same material. And she sent me a Horde tank top.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, it matches my belt buckle that I've been working on, which I also brought to show.
It's very
glitzy. If you're watching, you get to see the cool belt buckle.
Ooh, that looks really nice.
I'm excited.
That
it's like
really nice. Now, what material? Hard to paint. What material is that made out of?
It's foam and black worbla.
Nice. It looks good.
Thanks, man. It's my big old belt buckle. I really like it, actually. But it's been hard to paint because it's like not a lot of colors. So I have to just like, I don't know, try to find a way to make it pop.
Yeah, dark is always kind of difficult, right?
Because you don't want to like overdo it with. You can't use white. You know, you can't like stark highlight. Well,
unless you're going for that real contrasty. I mean, there is a style that looks good. I'm not good at painting that though. It always looks.
Yeah.
To me, for when I try it, I feel like my version of that makes it look too cartoony. Do you know what I mean? Or too.
Yeah, I understand that. I always do like I highlight my like mountaintops, I guess, with my peaks and stuff with white, because I like the World of Warcraft. I didn't do it on Farah as much because Overwatch is a little bit more like all plastic, but on my World of Warcraft ones, I always highlight that. And it's just because I like every bit of detail to pop in a photo. But in person, it's like maybe a little stark, but it's the only way to get like something that's kind of a uniform color to pop. Yeah,
especially for photos. Sometimes you have to think about that.
A little overdo it.
Yeah, because I learned that quite a while ago. You know, sometimes you have to go a little overboard with the paint for the photos to show up better. Because I've had a few things where they looked amazing in person and like very realistic, and then you get in the photo and it's kind of eh.
Yeah, it falls flat. That's I've been taking photos of this project along the way, just trying to see how it's coming off, and it's like, wow, it's so flat until I begin to shade it, and I may not like it in person. It may be like a little bit overkill, but it looks so good in photos, and the majority of people that see my costumes see them in photos. And I don't want to have to Photoshop my costume. Yeah. So I want to be able to just post my costume as it is. So I'm doing that like hardcore extra level, but like my little gauntlet with the spikes, the black hands, like actual gauntlet. This I liked so much flat, like because I had airbrushed it 3 different multi shades of airbrushing. It was so beautiful, but it really was registering just kind of okay.
Was it looking like more one color, even though you
more
did
one color? But in person, it was like, ooh, so good. So I had to go through and like do the stark things just so you could see like all the the different
variations.
Details.
Yeah. Those are great.
I mean, I like it too, but
it looks great. It really looks good. It pops good on camera. So
thanks, man. That's what I'm going for. It's a little tricky.
What's that character again?
It's Garona from World of Warcraft from the movie, like the Warcraft movie.
Yeah, from the movie.
But it's the take as if it's like an alternate lore thing that if she didn't kill King Lane and instead she killed Blackhand and became the war chief, because whoever kills the war chief becomes the war chief. So. Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah, it would have been kind of cool.
Are you? Do you have a deadline for a con for that, or is that just when you get done, you get done?
Well, I'm taking my time on it to some degree because I'm working on other projects along the way, but it's for Comic-Con Germany in Stuttgart, which is my con in June I'm going to.
In June. So I mean, you have a ton of other projects going on at the same time too, though, but you got some time. Yeah, right?
I have time. It's, it'll get there, but there's like all the little bones for, it has 20 vertebrae down each side of the back that goes along with this skull.
Oh yeah.
And so for the skull, for the vertebrae, I've been like sanding them smooth enough because I need like some of them 4 of, some of them 6 of for each side, and I'm gonna mold them. So.
Oh, I was gonna say you're gonna cast those, right?
Yeah. So they're almost ready for casting. It's just getting to the point of casting. Does
that character also have a helmet then, or?
No, she has like in the movie she just has like her hair down, but Zach drew my version with like the pigtails that the orc can have in the game. And I have the teeth that I made as well. I made like the tusk teeth, but I will say, I don't know if I'm going to wear the teeth. Like I want to wear the teeth, but I'm going to be green and I need to be able to talk on stage. I need to be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And so I may just bring my teeth with me like denture style and be like, these are my teeth. But I'm just so worried at having, like, I guess if I do like a photo shoot, I'll put them in for a photo shoot.
You could have them for photo shoots and then pop them out.
But they make me really drooly. And I watched an interview with Paula Patton, and she said hers made her really drooly too.
Really drooly too, yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
Exactly. So I don't want to just have, I can spray my makeup so it'll be waterproof, but I won't be able to feel it because of all the spray and the green paint. So if I have like drool running, someone will have to tell me.
Well, yeah, and it's like you're going to be there as a guest of the con, and it's like, you know, I mean, most people want to have a little less drool when they're meeting people from another country, and you know are excited to see you.
And even though they like the majority of German people, or a lot of German people, speak English, I still don't want to be trying to speak to them with a lisp and they're like, we can't understand this American guest you brought. Like, what language is this? Turkish, duh.
Yeah, right. That's what happens when you bring an orc to a con.
Exactly. And I thought she has some really cool hands too, like the orcish hands and the nails. And I thought, like, man, it'd be so fun to cast my hand and make that. Oh yeah. But that's very adventurous, or you know, like ambitious.
Ambitious, and also very impractical if you got to get around at a con. So, and
it's using my phone if I'm taking a selfie or pulling up something. And I'm doing the cool thing about Comic-Con Germany is they're going to have a whole bunch of workshops where you actually make something. Like it's a paid workshop and they supply the materials and you create something. Yeah. And I might be doing a breastplate class.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really excited about that. And I can't do that with, you know, dragon skin hands.
No.
It'd be so weird. So I'm definitely going to bring parts of Grona, but I'll probably just do my hands and nails similar to her. But I'm excited. I got a bunch of TNT Cosplay Supply has some really nice fabrics that they sent me samples of, and it's like this really good faux leather that I'm going to use for all the leather parts, and it paints really well, and I like it. I like this material a lot.
That's cool. I didn't know. Have they been carrying fabrics for a while, or is this new?
And I didn't know that. What? Yeah, it's I have to say their superhero spandex is the best I've seen. Really? And like I have bought a lot of spandex that I just have stocked whenever it's on sale. Yeah. And the like blue is so metallic-y, like shiny blue. It's like the perfect Wonder Woman, Superman. Like, and they did whatever I messaged Tony, I was like, your distributor is so good.
Yeah, whoever you're getting your material from is like.
Yeah, and for I think it's $13 a yard, and that's average for a high ounce.
That's spandex. Not bad at all. That's not bad.
13 to 19 for spandex. So, but you get what you pay for. So you're going to get something that is a little more opaque from them. If you pay for a $7 spandex off eBay, you might see your dingles and berries, you know? So I've seen some Spider-Man.
No dingles and berries.
Don't do it. Get the thicker spandex. So I was
and even if you get the thicker spandex, get a dance belt.
Oh, please. Yeah. Spandex is not a permanent solution.
Or create something that covers your personal area.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Their leather really impressed me. I was super happy with it. And I have a whole variety of leather. I've been buying like scraps and stuff whenever I see them on sale, like the scrap bundles. And I was just going to hodgepodge a bunch together, and I don't know. It was just I don't think it was going to work very well. So I'm glad to have like a nice base that I think will work out.
Well, that's cool. Is there much leather on that costume then?
Yeah, I think he designed like all of the entire clothing that she's wearing, because it's not a lot of all my armor's finished minus painting. So like it's all my shoulders are done, all the pieces are finished. So yeah, it's the fastest build, I have to say. I built all the parts I think in like 3 days.
Yeah, you just busted that out because it's
it's because here's the reason. Let me just level with you.
Okay. So hey, wait. Level with them.
Yeah. So like, okay. I'm ready. Here's the thing. There's other costumes. Like if you're trying to make your costume a Mercedes-Benz and it needs to just reflect light and blind the patrons of the con, it'll take you a while.
But yes, this is true.
If you want to look like you came out of battle and like you're fine with a little bit of texture, or you even want some texture, you can do things really fast. You do not need all these people post like, oh, I want it to be auto-buy. I'm going to use this. I'm going to stand up to 24,000. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not, what are you trying to do with your life? Because if you just want a cool costume, it doesn't have to be overkill. I'm not going to judge you. Like, I have all kinds of texture on mine. And I was like, I was wet smoothing because I like wet smooth with Flex Bond. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I could get this really smooth. And I was like, why? Why? It's like supposed to be battle worn already. Here I am adding cartoon battle damage and then wet sanding the texture off. So I stopped and like pushed my finger in some little areas to like make some bevels. And it's just like sometimes not every costume has to be pristine.
And a lot of times, like you said, I mean, a lot of times the armor and stuff, it has texture to it anyway. Or it was, you know, it's a style that was like maybe hand pounded out. You're not going to have like super smooth, like no crease kind of stuff. And it's easy to get obsessed with things being extremely smooth.
And coming off of that Farrah cosplay, my instinct to jump in this one was like, oh, smooth. I gotta really smooth. And I was like, what the heck? No, it does not have to be smooth. I'm not doing that at all. Like, it felt so good to have it all finished and ready. I was like, oh, this is, and even with these, the dragon head and the bones, I have one bone that is flawless. And I sprayed it with the primer and I was like, oh, it's a bone. Like, so here I am. I'm like, I'm going to have to like cut into it.
You kind of got to mess it up a little bit because it's too like.
It looks a little, I put all of them laid out and it looks a little like a model for a
too
science
perfect.
class.
Yeah. It's too perfect.
Yeah. So I need to like break off a couple bits and like jab some holes in it and stuff. Like I want this to be gritty intentionally because it's like she won a battle. That's my whole story I made up. So what am I doing? But
so one of the best things that ever happened to me as far as creation and, you know, making things smooth and all that was when my family decided to do Mad Max together, the Fury Road costumes, because they're all, you know, wasteland costumes, right? And they don't have to be perfect. And the more janky they are, kind of the more realistic they look. And up until that point with like building costumes and props and stuff, I had only ever done like really clean, pristine things, right? Like Thranduil's sword and Loki's staff and Fierce Deity's helix sword. That's just like this perfect cross of blades. It's like perfect shiny gloss coat, you know, and all like, and Loki's armor, which was all like perfect, you know, and up to that point, I never had done anything that was like messy. Right. And it was so much fun. And it was so nice to be like, you know, a little minor mistake or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't have to grab the filler and fill it in right away and patch it and fix it. It's just like, just leave it. And I built like Furios's arm and it was all nice, you know, and put together. And then I got to beat it up and that was so freeing. So if you've never built anything that's like crusty or dirty or just like old and weathered, do yourself a favor and pick a project that's like that, because you will feel it changed me as a maker. It really did. Yeah. And then
I love that. It definitely is freeing because it's, I don't know.
Absolutely. And then when I went to my next projects where, you know, things had to be kind of perfect again and not like nice, I was like a little less freaked out about how perfect it had to be. Does that make sense? It just kind of calmed me as a maker. And so now it's like, because when I first started, if I was doing something that have a glossy finish, I would literally sand it up to like 2000 grit.
Yeah.
Right? Wet sand. And that, so if you're getting to 2000, that means you go from, you know, 180, 220, 320, 400, 600, 800, 1000 to 2000. How many sanding passes is that? So, you know, so now it's like, I maybe take something to, I think the Wonder Woman sword, you know, I think I finished that. I stopped at like 400 on that. And you know what? And you know what? It doesn't matter. People look at it and they're like, wow, that looks awesome.
Metal.
What's that? Yeah, because it's like,
it's also like brushed metal. Like, the issue is people get hung up, and even my granddad, I'm not even making this up. Granddad came over yesterday. He ran into a tree the other day. This is a real story. I have photos and video. He ran into a tree in my yard, and he came over and asked for my rope so he could tie it to said tree to pull the dent out of his bumper. He broke 4 feet of the rope and did not get the dent out. But then so now he's like, well, I'm going to get my bumper redone. You think, how much do you think it costs for me to get it chrome? And I was like, even Pop wants stuff chrome. Yeah. So my whole thing is, not every metal has to be chrome, y'all.
That's right.
There's the obsession with chrome. It's fine. I do love shiny things. Don't get me wrong, but not everything has to be chrome. And if you're gonna do weathering on it, like what's the point in making it? If you're gonna do a lot of weathering and battle damage, like it doesn't really need to be chrome.
No, and anytime I've ever needed to like kind of weather, like slightly weather something that's chrome or like a really nice gold, it's really hard to do and make it look right. So
yeah.
It is. It's really hard to make a natural on like super nice, smooth, perfect finishes. It's really hard to make a natural kind of weathering that doesn't look like you just brushed it on there or something. So
yeah, I actually just painted. So the lightsaber that I sprayed with the chrome, that was the rattle can chrome that I kind of smudged up because we both know it doesn't really cure that well. I sprayed it with the All-Clad mirror chrome. The Spastics mirror chrome, and it was fine. It looked fine, but I was like, meh, I don't really like this. So I went back to the airframe aluminum, and I like it better.
Oh, I see. I really like the airframe aluminum. I think it's got a good look to it.
I like it a lot. And I was like, but it's so funny because I thought I wanted chrome on that piece, and I had sanded those pieces so well because they were small, so it was like not a big deal to get it really shiny or smooth.
Yeah.
But then it's like once I had the chrome that I wanted, I no longer wanted the chrome. I wanted the more metal. I wanted it to look like metal, like a cold metal, you know?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I guess it is what it is. But I think there's a lot of obsession. I see so many people commenting and talking about like getting things smooth, and it's just such an obsession. But let me just tell you right now, 90% of my girlfriends that cosplay and you see a lot of my like higher up, or larger following kind of faster build girlfriends.
Yeah.
Let me tell you right now, they're not doing that. They're not obsessing over chrome, and they're busting out lots of costumes. They're passionate about the characters. They love their characters. They're just eager to make a new character come to life. Yeah. So I feel like if you just love the character and you want to bring it to life, you don't have to do it like you work in an auto body shop. You just don't.
You don't. But at the same time, if you want to, that's great too.
Oh yes, if you want to, then you have that's your art. You love it. Commit to it. I support you. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on people. And let me just say something real fast about a paint job in general. It's been a while since I guess we've talked about, like, we had a big podcast on paint a long time ago, but a good paint job covers up so many flaws.
Yes.
You can get away with so much. I follow so many people on Instagram, and every night I lay in bed and I search cosplay, and I'm looking at what everybody's doing. I mean, you could see me commenting. If you follow me, you'll see all the stuff I've liked and commented on. I go crazy. Eric is even more than I am, but I
don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the time I've liked it, he's already liked it. Always. I'm like, what the heck? Because it shows you. And I see so many things that I'm like, oh wow, there's, like, poor guy, like he could use a little sanding, like, I wish sometimes I just want to help a brother out. And
yeah. There might be a piece where you're like, you can tell, somebody's maybe struggling a little bit with getting it.
And they'll say, they're like, oh, this
where
isn't
they
the
want
way
it.
I want
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they paint it and they're like, well, it turned out okay. And I'm like,
you're right. It did turn out okay.
There was your skill. Your skill is you are a phenomenal artist, So I feel like people get hung up in like the before paint. And then so many times I've painted something and I'm like, wow, all right. Like this came out a lot better than I thought it was. Yeah.
But what really sucks is if, what if you don't have the paint skill to save yourself with paint?
Well, yeah, and that's pretty common.
Yeah,
but
it happens.
I tell people to practice on small things.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and it's interesting though, because I have people like tell me, they're like, "Wow, your paint's amazing," and I really feel like that's like my least best skill. Like
your painting?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need to realize I'm okay at it or something, but I feel like if I'm going to screw something up, it's going to be in the paint. And maybe that's because pretty much every project I've ever done, I've had to redo the paint at least once, for whatever reason, and the skill of being patient when you're painting is so huge.
Oh, so huge. Like, man,
I mean, that is a skill in and of itself. Just
it is.
Patience to wait for paint to dry.
Yeah, it's so hard. I have so much trouble with it. I mean, I'm getting better, but I still touch my molds all the time. I can't stop myself. My brother does it too. I have to say, it must be like inherited because he comes in, he's like, "What are you working on, Dut? You weren't even, that could kill you." But he does it all the time. He's like, "This isn't." Like, he came in, literally touched like I think my dragon head or something like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's like, "This isn't done." Yeah.
You think?
I know that. You could have asked if you wanted to. I would have told you it wasn't done. It's so, like, does he touch cakes? Does he stick his hand in the oven and touch the cake?
Yeah, it's like, so weird. At least that you can lick it off your finger if it's not done.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny you bring that up because I poured just I mean, I've been working on my Wonder Woman sword again.
Oh,
but it wasn't this mold, but I was working on something else and it was just a tiny little 2-part mold. So the mold box was only like, about 3 inches square. Right. And I was using Umu because it was just like, I needed it just done really quick. And I had a small thing of Umu. I don't really like Umu. It's whatever. But if
you're doing something really, it's like a couple dollars cheaper.
Yeah. Well, if it's like a quick one-off, it was like one thing I'm going to mold once and I'm done. So I use it for junk molds quite a bit. Plus I can get it off Amazon if I need it quickly.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But anyway, so one thing nice about Umu though, is it does cure pretty quick for the most part. Mm-hmm. Right. And so like I pour the thing and like 3 hours later I come down and it looked cured, I'm like, oh wow, that cured quick. And I don't know why. I take 3 of my fingers and push it on it to like touch it,
Yeah.
I mean, usually what I'll do is I'll touch like, a little drip on the side. You might get a little drip on your mold edge or something or on your box edge. And so you touch that to see if it's dry or not. But for whatever reason, I'm just like, stick my 3 fingers on it. Yeah. And my fingers stuck to it.
Oh my gosh.
Because the silicone was in this weird stage of like, it was firm, but it was still sticky. Right. So I go to try to pull my fingers out of it and it starts pulling the silicone up. It's like stretching the silicone up with my fingers. It was so weird.
Gosh. That is super weird.
Right. Oh. And it's obvious that I can't pull it off because it's just going to pull the silicone right out of the mold. Because it was the second part of a 2-part mold, so I'm like, crap. So, but it was weird. So, it had set just enough. It had kicked enough that I actually had to slice it off with I had to cut it with an X-Acto knife.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I've not had to do that's crazy.
Yeah. But then once I cut it off, it just peeled right off my fingers because it was, it must have been just like 30 minutes before it was completely solid. It was just weird. Yeah. So anyway, and I don't know what possessed me. I don't know. It's just like, just stick 3 fingers into it.
You've been hanging out with me too long. I'm rubbing off on you. That's terrible. My bad habits. I've absorbed good habits from you.
Oh, okay.
Dude, watching your mold stuff, it was so satisfying. Watching your mold stuff, like I know a lot of people feel this way, but like watching the degassing.
Oh yeah.
That was, or the vacuum chamber. I guess that's what you have.
Yeah, no, it's degassing with the vacuum chamber.
But we have a pressure pot and a vacuum chamber.
Not to be confused with degaussing, which is complete.
Oh yes.
Something completely different is at a molecular level or something. So
yeah.
So, but degassing,
yeah, it's so fun to watch that. It's just like crazy. Like,
I had fun chopping together like that quick little video of like the.
Yeah, I like that. That was cute.
4 steps of doing silicone. I've had a little more since I'm not under the gun all the time. I have a little more time to like just kind of film stuff and just do just kind of play around with stuff. So I've been trying to do that. Just film more things and post more stuff. That's just not still. That's just not still images and things. So I got a lot of response.
I feel that way too. Like I was worried. Like I try to post some videos of things, but I always forget. I'm getting better. And on my Patreon, I'm like making that's actually inspired me because now that I have that and that is a part of like this thing I call a job. I have I'm like, all right, I'm working on this project. They're gonna want to see it. Like Matt keeps reminding me. He's like, people want to see everything. He's like, I follow people and I'm like, I just want to see what they're working on. It doesn't matter if you think it's good. Like if I'm painting or flex bonding, I've been recording that because it's like, maybe it's not interesting to me, but it provokes questions. And I didn't even realize that people will have things to ask about your process and things that you don't even realize. Like I did a time lapse. I've recently made like the female Anduin breastplate. So that I posted this thing in my store. Let me go through all these thoughts. I have so many thoughts at one time and I'm just starting and stopping. And the people listening, sorry guys, they're all just like, Jackie, could you just finish one part of it, Jackie? Please. Just give me the end of one. So
reel it back in. Let's get this train back on the tracks.
I could go right off topic off of the reeling too, because I have a real time on the show. But so I added. Yeah, I
don't forget that because I want to talk about that because it looks really
yeah,
great.
I'll bring it over. I added in my store Envy and Etsy a $200 for 5 to 6 weeks or a $350 for a rush version of a custom pattern. And that would allow, if you have a cosplay that's like Zach Fisher or somebody and you're like, I need a pattern for this. I don't know where to begin. Patterning is not my thing. I have 3 kids. I'm in college, but I have this money that I want to spend this way because it's either $200 or 50 hours of patterning because I don't know how.
Yeah.
So I thought
that's a reasonable offer.
Yeah, I thought I would offer it, and I thought, like, you know, I'm gonna put it out there in the world. Who cares? 3 days later, I got a bid on it. I got 2 actually, but wow. I took the one, and it was for a female Anduin, and she wanted the cinematic version. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I sat down and did it, and I got most of the patterning done in a day. I just like have to edit a few little things, but making that breastplate and putting it together, I was like, I should film this for Patreon. Like, people maybe want to see this weird process of how I made this. And so I put it up, and it did provoke a lot of questions, but it's that thing of, I just listened to Punished Props with Zombie and Bill, and they were just talking about like what to film, filming too much, not filming enough. And I would get in this point in a project where I would just film like the first 50% of the project and then not film the end. So it's like, what video can I make of that? I just have like 4 hours of footage of all this work in the beginning that is such good quality and cool. And then I stopped filming because you get timelines, deadlines, crunches, you know, you just forget. So I'm trying to integrate that as a part of what I do, is making sure that I film it, because I really enjoy talking to people about different processes and like, you know, what I do. Like, people ask me all the time, why don't you do a duct tape mannequin? And like, why don't you wrap yourself and like do patterns on yourself? Nope. It's not the way I do things. You cannot change my mind. I don't care. If you know, because people come at you pretty strong. Well, I've done it this way. Yeah. I'm so glad that you did it that way. And you know what? You're a BA that you did, but respect the way I do it too. You know, like, it's fine.
Well,
I'm very respectful of different methods.
It's just like everything else. There's many different ways to get to the same end result.
Right.
Most people use whatever technique they find comfortable.
Exactly. And I'm a soft gal, man. And wrapping me up in duct tape is not going to give me the result I want. I'm just being real. And so what I do is I have a bunch of mannequins, and the mannequin army is growing every day. It's getting a little strange. I feel like my neighbors are because I'll take a mannequin I carry them in and out of the house. And they'll have stuff on them. And I know my neighbors behind me are probably like, what
is going on at that place?
Yeah. And this one's like a retired SBI officer. So I know he's just like, he comes over sometimes like, what you doing? Taking the heads off mannequins. So I have like a variety of them. I've been adding plus size ones because a lot of them are kind of small, like bigger guys and bigger girls. I just added a girl, but it's hard to find a variety of guy sizes. But I like to pattern on a hard surface because I love the detail I can get, the tight curves. It's like clothing. I want it to be as tight and as like form fitting as. I don't want a block. I don't want to give somebody a pattern that's like, this is how you make a block chest. I want you to feel like it's tailored armor. You know, like every armor has a seam. Like, of course, it would have a seam and things. I want you to feel sexy but empowered at the same time, like not just like a block. So. That's why I don't use the duct tape forms. But anyway, so I added that custom pattern.
The duct tape for you, it's just too like squishy and doesn't hold the shape well enough for you.
No, and I tried it on my brother, who's a firm body. I've tried it on other people, and unless it's arms or calves, it's not for me.
Not for you. That makes sense.
I just like a firm surface, and I can pad out a mannequin to fit measurements. So like that's not an issue. Like my dress form mannequin, and they sell kits for that too. So for me, I padded a bra out and put that on one of my mannequins when I was working on something.
I'm with you on that because I had and I mean, I don't do clothing stuff, but when I've done armor, I started with a torso duct tape mannequin in myself, and then with the help of Bill from Punished Props. In fact, there's a video about it. He helped my daughter and I do plaster bandage for torsos of us.
Yeah, that's
it's just so much easier to build on because it's a hard surface, you know, and you can draw against it and stuff. And the plaster bandages, it's not like perfect, and the surface is kind of rough and all that. But I did really like the difference between going from kind of the squishy and my biggest problem with duct tape mannequins too is it's like it's really. When you go to stuff them, it's real easy to get your proportions wrong.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Because like
it's not going to give you fine detail.
But like for me, detail. For like my original one, it's like I ended up making it. I think it was like when I stuffed it, it kind of grew out from like where my belly is. So it ended up being fatter, but then that made my hips skinnier, right? Like the sides, because the ratio of what your body is in that form, it kind of changes depending on how you stuff it. And so it was always kind of not quite the right shape. And I always had to like consider that when I was working with it. Whereas the plaster version, it's like whatever that proportion is, it stays the same because it's a hard, rigid piece and it's not going to move. So I get that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not for me. I see it suggested every single time a pattern thing like is tagged I make patterns. So obviously I get tagged in a lot of pattern things. They'll be like, Jackie, how would you do this? And I'm not going to argue with anybody because that's just why argue? That's silly. If it works for you, it works for you. And I support that. Like
if it works great for you, go for it.
But it's just not for me. And so I see the duct tape recommendations all the time. And it's just, I don't know. I wish it had worked for me. Maybe if I was like a small, flat, super chiseled person, like Alicia Marie, if I was her, I could duct tape her and just like transfer. I wouldn't even need to make a form. I could just transfer the patterns and I'd forever have that size pattern. But, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. The Brick in the Yard Mold Supply, like their channel on YouTube, they have the coolest video of plastering, of making like the shell of a model and then using the expanding foam to make a dress form.
Yeah. I think I watched that one like a long time ago.
Yeah. It's so fun to watch because it's crazy. The guys that are like, they have to Vaseline her.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
All these things. It's a lot of work. And they're dripping sweat. It's two men going hardcore to like, they have to like you have to make sure everything is so perfectly made because, you don't want to have to really pull it off of her and hurt her.
Sorry.
So what?
No, two men going hardcore, just,
Oh, sorry. In context.
It just made me laugh. All right. I'll get my mind back on the right train of thought.
No, it's fine. But yeah, that got me thinking like that could be kind of fun. I would like to do, I like anything that you can make a mold of your body of. Like I'm going to make the jaw casts for my Farrah. I bought the materials for it and I'd eventually like to complete that just because I have the materials and I want to do it. And I want to do my hand because I want to hand cast. Anything that you can like make a cast of your own body is just such a fun thing. It just makes everything easier making stuff.
Did I tell you that I was going to print a 3D print of my head?
No, but I know people that have, and that's another thing. Gosh.
Speaking of body forms and shapes and stuff. So Vert Vixen, Alicia Bellamy, friend of ours, friend of the show. Alicia. She teamed up with this company in California and they did a body scan of her. And then another company did like a head print of her head. So she has, a 3D version of that. And I was thinking, cause I've wanted one for my head for a while cause there's some helmets I want to make and stuff. And I always just thought, well, I'll just get with some friends, probably like Bill from Punish Props or my other friend, Will from Billy the Brick, and just do like a head casting party or something, But then I realized that a couple years ago at Emerald City, I had a 3D scan done of me as Furiosa, right?
Oh my gosh, wait, I've had one too.
Well, and so for me, she doesn't wear a helmet, and and so my head is just my head. So I realized that if I just had my head chopped off, if I had my head, so you can buy the scans. It cost me $70. Is what they charge to buy the scan from them. The company.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we had this conversation because I got scanned. I never even I forgot about that. But
I was thinking, yeah, and that's the thing. So I was thinking about it's like, I was thinking, if I could find a local company that would scan me, I'd probably pay like up to $100 to be scanned.
Yeah, dude, right? Me too. I'm claustrophobic. I would much prefer to be scanned.
And so when I realized that, I could get the Furiosa scan for $70. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't mind paying. All right, $60, I guess. I don't mind paying that. So I have it. And then Alicia, I sent it to her. She hasn't done it yet, but she's going to basically chop off the head and put it on a fake, like a flat fake neck. So that I can, because the CR10 I checked it out and it's just big enough that I can print my head in one print.
That's cool.
On the print bed on the CR10. So I've been planning on doing that for a while. In fact, I started printing it a while back without the neck being changed. But with Furiosa, she wears like a scarf, and there's a scarf on the model as part of my neck. and it was doing some weird stuff when it was printing because it had some overhangs and underhangs and stuff. And it was just like, you know, this is going to take a lot less time and a lot less material if I can get somebody. I'm not good enough with 3D work right now to like chop up a model and add a cylinder as a neck. And I tried it, but I failed miserably. So I've been waiting for her to mod that for me so I can do it. But once that's modded, I'm going to print it in one print on my CR10, and I'll have a 3D print of a scan of my head, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. I want to do that. I completely forgot that was even, I had never thought about that as an option, but I want to do that.
Yeah. So if you've ever been scanned, you have been, what were you in when you were scanned?
What was I wearing? I was in something that, I was in my Lich King.
Yeah.
But I got scanned all the way around. So even though the shoulders are there, it's still there, right? Yeah. Like my head.
Yeah, well, your head would still, yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course my head's still
there. Of course.
So yeah, because they gave trophies away to the winners at this con I attended. Like the winners got scanned.
Oh, they got scanned and did. Oh, that's a cool trophy.
That was a really cool trophy.
That's a very cool trophy. That's I love that.
They brought the booth to the con and they scanned it to like all the people that won the first, second, and third all got trophies, and they got different sizes because you could get like the tall versions of yourself printed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was in I want to say it was in Des Moines, Iowa, but it could also have been in Columbus, Ohio. One of those two. But I'm going to find out because it was with Wizard World.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that
companies locally that could
I'm hoping that Emerald City's coming up in like 3 weeks, I guess. It's the first week of March. And I'm hoping that there's that company's there again this year. I'll be there at least 1 or 2 days just in street clothes, and I want to get myself scanned again so I have a 3D version of myself, so that if I end up ever doing any 3D armor or anything, which is kind of, I think maybe if I ever do any armor again, I think my next step might be doing a 3D version, because I don't know, it just seems like fun. So
what do you mean 3D version?
Well, like 3D armor instead of like foam or
like 3D printed armor.
Yeah, 3D printed armor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I want to get a scan of my whole body. So
you're gonna be so uncomfortable though. Well, I guess the comfort doesn't matter.
Whatever. I mean, for me, it's like I prefer to work with hard surfaces, and I just think that playing with 3D printed stuff,
I'm with you on that. I much prefer to work with hard surfaces. That's why I make my foam. I usually have to make my foam like rigid or hard. Even like my Ferris shoulders that were foam, I glued foam onto Centra, so it was sturdy. Like I get I like foam is like really great base for everything, and then I make things, like
and I love that like Bill and Ted. I love that. I love that they love to work with foam, and they like spray stuff with latex and all that, and and it looks amazing, and they got their process down. But I don't know, I want to just branch out and try some other things besides just doing foam armor. So
like there's some things for foam that I'll probably never move away from, like a lot of my head pieces and like horns and stuff, because I feel like I can get them smooth. But I definitely like I've been trying to figure out what I want to make for BlizzCon this year, and I really was considering making a female Anduin myself before this person contacted me. And I told Jill, I was like, could you get started on the lion heads, because it's something I don't want to have to make by hand. Yeah. It's not that I can't. I've made lions, variants covered in lions. I don't want to make another lion. My Braveheart lion is lions. All I've done is lions.
Been there, done that. I don't mind doing a 3D lion.
And it's so hard to get it symmetric. And it's like, I've already proven to myself that I'm capable of sculpting and making a mold, but it's not as good as like a symmetric, perfect lion that someone can sculpt on the computer. I'm not that skilled. Other people are. It's just not for me. So it takes me too long, rather. So I was like, well, I'll make all the armor out of these parts, but I like 3D components. And so the lions, I definitely like 3D model just so they're super symmetric. But then I got to thinking, the shoulders, I've made the shoulders. They're on my couch right now out of foam, and they were an SOB, a giant SOB. Like the girl that I'm making the pattern for, I was like, girl, these shoulders, like, are you ready? Because they're terrible. It's like the thing that I have to, the thing that like, they look like simple, big, you just heat form and roll some foam. I don't work like that. I have to have darts so the foam stays in that shape. Yeah. Because if I have to heat form it and then it's like, maybe it stays in that shape, maybe it lips out a little bit. Nope. No, I want it to be the exact shape I want it to be. So I hack it up and do darts. That's my thing. Yeah, you don't want it to like wiggle out or something. No, wiggle out. And you can obviously like put glue trim and then it kind of forces it in the shape. But I like the very first base to be the shape it is intended to be, and then I build off of it. Yeah. And so it worked. I mean, I used my TNT foam, I layered it all up and stuff, but I had to hack that thing up so many times to get the shape right. I was really struggling with making those for some reason. I don't know why. It's not that hard of a shape, but it was like, I made them for a 300-pound guy. I have this problem. I have this tendency. I do this a lot, actually. I wish I could shake myself of this. I make everything bigger than it should be. And like, I feel like maybe I have like a part of my brain that's firing differently than other people. And I see it. I'm like, that must be this big. I don't know why. So I started now.
It goes along with your big personality.
I guess. I like
you just throw it out. You're just an optimistic person. Everything's
huge.
Everything, but, not only is the glass half full, it's like flowing over.
It's flowing over into my lap. So I scaled them down because the girl's smaller than me and they were big on me. And I was like, no. I need to even scale them down on myself. So the worst part is when you have something super built together and you have to hack it apart and like, I have to go back at it again, but it's been, it's definitely been, I freaking put an Evil Ted helmet pattern together yesterday and it's bigger too. Yeah. He used 10mm foam and I used thin foam and it made it bigger because it doesn't pad out the inside. So it's
you have to adjust if your foam isn't as thick as the what was patterned for.
And everything about me knew that, but I started it about 11 o'clock last night. It was just watching TV. I was like, cut the pattern out. Oh, what foam do I have closest in my reach? Grab this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, of course not. But it's like, it doesn't matter how many times I do something. I still have to remind myself sometimes how to do it the right way.
Sometimes it's easy to forget those little things.
Yeah, I just get very distracted watching things, and so, But anyways, that's been my journey.
So when you're building or creating a pattern for somebody else, how often do you? I mean, I'm assuming you're kind of building it while you're patterning it, right?
Yes. So some people I know that make patterns, not Bill and Ted, just like other people in the world. Yeah. They'll like digitize things with just like a concept idea. It's just like they haven't actually made their pattern. Yeah. They put their pattern up for sale. It's like a digitized guide pattern. Well, the amount of questions I get about my patterns already having tested them, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting something out there without having made it. It's just the way I am because I don't know how to answer your question if I didn't make it.
If you don't know how to assemble and build it at the same time.
Yeah. So I build everything and test it, even if they're like hacked up and the mock-up's really ugly. I just need to see it finished so that the shape works and it comes out the right way, and so I know what's wrong with the pattern, and what to make sure I write down for someone. Well, they when I get the custom pattern, I ask for like a forward shot and a side shot, and then your height and weight, and I can adjust. The nice thing is it's pretty easy to adjust. I don't know why. I mean, I say it's easy. It's easy for me. It's easy for me to look at a body and know where it's not going to fit that person right.
Well, that must be it must be like a built-in good thing that you have for like spatial awareness or something.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how often, like if you're working on say like on like the shoulders, I mean, how many times did you hack apart and rebuild the shoulders before you got it where you wanted it?
Well, there's one that I only just did the base, and then I was like, this is way too big. I'm going to completely move on. Yeah. And so I just stopped immediately, and I was like, just 20 minutes wasted. That's it. Yeah. And I could still use that foam because it's so much. But I got the second one large. Like, he's such a big buff guy, and I got like so into. I thought I had it scaled down enough, but it just wasn't. And and there aren't a lot of images of him in the cinematic. There's just the in-game version from the different angles, and I was trying to blend the two, which is what I talked about with the girl. And the end game is just so giant, and the cinematic is smaller, but they both needed to be smaller. So gotcha. I was like this weird work in between. But I didn't take the entire thing apart. I just kept having to hack it shorter and like hack off layers.
Just kind of like shaving it down, basically.
Shaving it down, and it was not fun because like it's really thick in certain parts because it's a thick shoulder. Yeah. But it's just there's a certain point when you have to just like step away from that. So I finished the collar, I finished the gauntlet, I started on the shin, I finished the knee. I like took a step back, and I was like, I need to I'll come back to the shoulder last. So
I do that quite a bit. If I get stuck on something, I force myself. It's like, okay, put this aside. Stop trying to fix it.
Yeah, and it's hard. As you know, it is hard to stop yourself sometimes.
Do you ever go down that trail where you're like, okay, you make a mistake or whatever, and you need to fix it, and then you go to fix it and it makes it worse?
Yeah, all the time.
And then
It's because you're in the wrong frame of mind.
Yeah, and then you try to fix that, and then it's triply worse than when you started, and then you're like, I need to stop, and then you don't, and then you're like 6 steps worse away, and then you're finally like, okay, fine, I'll put it down.
It happens to me all the time.
Okay, that's not just me then.
No, I started this shoulder, and I got a commission for a pattern for a Zelda's Zach Fisher's Zelda design.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can make this whole thing. I just cannot make this shoulder. Like, this does not make any sense to me. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can do it. And here's the price. And so I started on it, and I was like, I can't do this either. I was like, I need to contact Frisco Blondie and be like, girl, could you tell me how you did this? Because I'll give you all my commission. You just give me your pattern. I'll just pass it on to the girl. You know what I mean? But
yeah, exactly.
I wasn't in the right state of mind.
You got some insight into this one, girl, because I'm stuck.
Yeah. And so I told her, I was like, I feel you. So I had to I left it alone and had to just kind of think about it and look at it from a different way. And I think I've got it now, but it's such a weird design. It was just a little overwhelming. I mean, honestly, shoulders are the hardest. That's why I put so many shoulders up for sale. And I have to say, my Alex Straza horns are probably one of the best sellers, but next up is a shoulder. I don't know which shoulder, but definitely a shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's just because shoulders suck. I even have a friend who's a pattern smith, Sarah.
I agree.
Sarah. She bought my shoulder pattern.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to alter it. And that's so cool because she's a pattern smith as well. And so, but she's like, shoulders just aren't my thing, but she's really great at embroidery, digitizing, and sewing as well as armor. But the shoulders just can suck sometimes. They can get you.
I agree. The few, because I haven't done a ton of armor, but the few armor builds I've done, the shoulders, I hate doing shoulders. It's just
man. So it just makes me so I would do 100 breastplates in all different shapes and sizes before I would do a shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's the thing I get the most requests about, but it's
so if you get a lot of requests for them, then it must be something that everybody struggles with.
Yeah, and so I don't even, and when they'll message me questions, they're like, how does this go together? And I was like, girl, just be patient. It sucks. I know.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, but then I get a lot of, so since I've been doing foam patterns, I get a lot of questions about seam filler. And the people that buy these patterns are usually people that want to do things on a budget. They're building with foam because they've got kids. Again, they're just trying to do things cheaply. So I tell them, I'm like, latex caulk, just fill it with latex caulk. It's the easiest, cheapest way to do it. And they're like, well, but what if your gap is half an inch thick? And I'm like, oh,
then you need to recut.
You need to, or just glue. Yeah, fill that with contact cement. Let it dry and smush together. I was like, you got to force it together. That's a hole. That's not really a gap.
No.
It's not a seam. That's a hole.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, and I think especially people that are new to foam smithing, it's just like they want to fix this thing. It's like, foam's cheap. Just recut it.
Yeah, just recut it.
Work on your cutting skills because it's just like it's just like everything. If you start with kind of a shaky foundation, by the time you get to that last piece, it's just not going to look good. I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes it just doesn't look good, and it looks exactly like what it is, which is you cut it wrong to begin with. You tried to spackle it over, or whatever. And you can't resurrect it because it just, so.
Yeah. If you don't have a nice, flat, even cut, and I'm talking none of those little jaggedy ridges.
No. Nice, clean cut.
Yeah. If you don't have that, don't glue it together.
Exactly.
Don't put glue on it and move on. Take a rotary tool. Take a block of sand. You can force the texture down, or sandpaper. Take a block of sandpaper.
Yeah, I knew what you meant by a block of sand.
Yeah, a block of sand. Yeah, whatever. That stuff. So it's just so crazy to me. Don't move on. And the number one, I did a little demo on my Patreon. I did a live stream for them, and I did a little demo of cutting bevels. Yeah. And ever since I posted that Jaina gauntlet with the bevels all cut in different sizes, people are like, how'd you do that? And I'm like,
I cut them.
0.5 seconds to do it. But I get it, man. I get why it's weird, because in the beginning, I didn't sharpen my tool very much. I was like, I'll just keep working on this with this one blade. And I'm like, well, these are kind of raggedy. I have to clean them up. The key is sharpening. I sharpen all the time. Don't not sharpen. If you sharpen, your bevels will be perfect every time. You don't need help. I promise. You don't need to clean them up. Just sharpen. And, it's like.
And if you still just completely struggle with that and you can't at least somewhat, I want to say master the skill, but you don't have to be a master at it. If you can't be proficient at the skill, learn to cut things a little bigger and buy a belt sander.
Yeah.
Seriously. And then just sand all your edges down. I mean, it works.
Yeah. There's ways around it.
There's ways around it. It's just like,
yeah.
It seems like, I know most everybody works on a tight budget.
Yeah.
But sometimes, sometimes a $60 tool can make all the difference in the world, whether it's a Dremel or a belt sander or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes just spending a little bit of money on a tool that helps you be better can make all the difference. And then you're not pounding your head against the wall or dropping bags of sand on your head,
Yeah. And it's like, if with $100, say you have $100, like if I had $100 and it was the very beginning of cosplay for me, beginning.
Yeah.
What I would get myself would be a cutting mat, a cutting blade, extra blades, my AccuSharp tool, a Win rotary tool, which is $23 because that's a flex shaft, and a flex shaft changed the game for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there I am. So I'm up to, like $65
$60 or
right
$70 right
there.
Yeah.
And then I would get myself contact cement.
Yep.
Because that is a game changer.
And a heat gun.
And a heat gun. Under $100.
Yep.
Bam. What is there anything else you can think of?
And if you want to go that little extra mile, I'm a huge belt sander guy. So
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
And you can usually pick up a Harbor Freight belt sander usually on sale for like $60.
Yeah. So. And to be honest, like if you budget that in there, and you like get a cheaper, smaller cutting mat as opposed to like the large cutting mat, you can work it out. You get yourself a $9 heat gun and not a $26 heat gun.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You could get the belt sander in that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
you can do it. Get some coupons.
And you could do it. You could do it with that budget right there. And buy, and as much as I love like TNT foam, I love their stuff. By the time you pay shipping and stuff, it is more costly than just buying floor mats. But $9.
But you could also look at their scratch and dent stuff, and then
that's true.
So that helps.
But I guess what I was going for is like $100 in equipment and two packs of foam at Harbor Freight for sometimes you can get for $6 a pack, $12 a material. So.
Yeah, there's affordable way. I think people just they get caught up in like buying. There's so many tools, it can get overwhelming. The other day recently, I'll just that's like but yet the other day.
But yet.
To make a long story short,
have you ever noticed that when people say to make a long story short, they're usually the person that tells the longest stories?
There's someone in my family that does that, and we know it's a joke about.
Yeah, it's like no, you're not going to tell me a short story, so why do you even say that?
Yeah, and the craziest thing is he says it multiple times throughout the story. Like it's almost like a transition. Well, to make a long story short, what? We've been talking for 38 minutes about a toothbrush, There's nothing short about this. So it's but yeah, the
What did you say about a toothbrush?
Well, I'm just thinking of a toothbrush because my mom came over today and told me her life hack. You know how parents are thinking of life hack.
I'm just thinking, how can somebody stretch out a 30-minute story about a toothbrush?
I mean, my mother can. So she's planting seeds in her egg cartons today. She had to tell me this real cool life hack that was she uses the end of her old toothbrush to. I'm sorry that y'all are gonna fall asleep listening to this, but
why are we talking about this?
To put the seeds, and then she uses the front of the toothbrush to rake across the dirt. I'm like, dang, mama, you should put that on Pinterest.
That's like total Zen garden thing or something, right?
It's so funny, but she was really excited to tell me that life hack, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do my whole garden like that. It took me 17 years.
Well, I was gonna say,
never.
You're gonna toothbrush my whole garden. I'll be done in 2028.
I will never be able to water the vegetables. They'll never survive. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, but.
What were we talking about before
we were talking about cosplaysupplies.com. That was my point. I went to their site just to order worbla, black worbla.
Okay.
And to order a pearly worbla to try.
Yeah. Have you gotten that yet?
Yes, it just came. And to hear what I've heard about it is that it cools off really fast. So like that can be kind of tricky for like flipping it around, laminating, like flipping the edges around the foam.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see how it works. I will say something that I want to bring up because it's been a while since I've mentioned this, but if you are getting a lot of air bubbles in your worbla, which I do not get, and I reheat my worbla 1,000 times, you need to heat your foam heavily and seal it. It'll change color. It'll become or change texture, it will be shiny. You're sealing those cells, very important.
Which is also known as heat sealing. So heat seal your foam because that knocks back all the air pockets in the foam is basically what it's doing, right?
It makes a huge difference.
So you have less air pockets to trap air under your foam when you attach.
And you should do it before painting too, wouldn't you say? Because it makes
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It makes a nicer texture.
Do it before you're going to do anything with foam. You know, if you're at that stage of like, okay, I built my thing out of foam. Now I'm going on to the next step, whether that's straight to paint, straight to plasti dip, whatever. Heat seal it first. Yeah, that's like
first. Yeah, and you'll be able to look at it and see the shiny, nice sheen difference. And you can watch Evil Ted do that in his like bunch of all his videos, really. So but going to Cosplay Supplies, I will say that I was like, I'm gonna look at all their stuff. You know, they've evolved over the years. Let's see what they got. They have so many tools.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff on their site.
I get why people can get overwhelmed at what to buy because there are so many different foam cutting tools, like foam works and all these different things, itty bitty little like tiny pencil cutters, like for scrapbooking and stuff. So it's okay. You don't need that. You can graduate into different stuff. You do not need that. All my patterns that I make, every single time lapse video that you see, it's just heat gun, cutting blade, sharpener, matte, contact cement. That's it. I use the fancy stuff sometimes if I'm doing some filigree and I need like itty bitty fine details. But for the base stuff, you can create a full set of armor with minimum tools. So I think people get overwhelmed, you know.
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at all this stuff and be like, oh, I need all this to do this thing. And just keep it simple.
It's a makeup girl thing too. I follow a bunch of beauty gurus on Instagram and it's like they have to have 7 different brightening serums. Like any females that are listening, which I know there are, you will see these girls on Instagram that have like these drops and they're like drop, 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 get a different kind, drop, drop, drop. It's like, girl, you did not need 4 bottles of $45 brightening serum. You didn't do it. You didn't need it. Get yourself some pearl powder from the hobby store and mix it on in your concealer. You'll be good. You'll be fine. But I mean,
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, I almost said, oh girl, but you know what
you can say oh girl to me. That's fine.
Yeah. You'll get it. You're obviously not, so it's fine. I just don't get the there's a lot of things that I think we have a tendency as humans just to be excessive and stuff. I'm guilty of that, actually. I have more of everything in this shop than I will ever need.
This is true.
So, but I've been good at, as I'm getting older, scaling back on makeup, which is something that I used to have a real problem with. It's just like, I need all these different things, and I don't. Because I have more than I'll use in a lifetime now. I give it away. If I had more local girlfriends, I would straight pass it on. Like, I would just be like, here.
I think people are just going to send you empty boxes with mailing labels.
Can I tell you something I did?
What's that?
You ready for this story? So I had a bag. Espionage Cosmetics has these cute little bags where they send stuff in. So I had this bag about this big, like a big old shoebox sized bag. I filled it full of makeup samples, a whole ton of stuff I had collected and hadn't tried yet. Yeah. And I went through a Hardee's drive-through, and the lady handed me my food at the end, and I handed her a bag, and I was like, "Happy holidays." Gave her a bag of makeup.
I wonder if she was like, so much. I wonder if she was like, what the?
Scared, I know. But I was all done up, and I'm sure she wasn't she's gonna hurt me. Yeah. And it was like, it had like lotions and sprays and all this stuff. But my whole theory, I had just watched this really interesting video where they were like, all these beauty gurus get free stuff, celebrities get free stuff. All these people that don't need it are getting free stuff, and there's people that like, they could, maybe they feel a little better at work if they had an eyeliner, or maybe they feel just a little more presentable in the world if they had some concealer. Like, it's true. You want to feel good about yourself, and whatever gives you confidence is what gives you confidence. And so I got to thinking, like, I shouldn't be holding on to this. Like, I'm not going to use it, and I'm going to let it go bad when it could get passed on to someone else. So I thought, like, I wish I could, like, it would be pretty selfish to record it. I'm not going to do that. But no. I wish I could have found out what her, like, if she liked it, if she used any of it, if she was like, oh, I've been wanting to try this, because I like talking about that stuff with people, but it was just such a, like, little spot. I just was happy to do that. I think I'm going to give it the drive to people. You
paid it forward with makeup is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to do is you get samples and, you just don't sit on stuff. I feel like a lot of people that get free stuff just let it go bad in their house. But man, there's people all over that you could just brighten their day by giving them something.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to look at life in general, I think.
Yeah, it makes my mom has always made me feel that way. A little trinket cheers my mom up. It could be, which I guess some people will say, well, materialistic. Oh, they shouldn't care about stuff. Oh, come on,
it's guys. Nice. It's nice.
Just whatever makes someone happy, just let it make them happy. And my mom, if you give her the smallest trinket, she just smiles for days.
Apparently, with your mom, all you have to do is give her a toothbrush, and she's just going to be ecstatic.
Real talk, yeah. Today, I gave her a bunch of seeds, and like the seeds cost nothing. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I love these," and she'll be happy with me for like a month because of that.
That's awesome.
I gave her we got these seeds that are, this is really prop and costume related, but I got seeds that are 300-pound pumpkin seeds, so I really hope that they grow.
Oh my gosh.
I'll be super excited.
Wait, where is she planting seeds? I thought it was like winter there and you had terrible weather or something.
She has them oh yeah, we do. It's the weather's good today.
Oh, good.
They are having or she plants them inside and seedlings them and then takes them outside,
it's still January. I can't imagine where you'd be planting seeds.
Yeah, it's cold. And the cold front's coming through again. There's another one coming from the west. But they the crazy thing is Liz is in California. Her plants are outside already. And I'm like, what the heck, Liz?
Yeah, that's California though. I mean, come on.
I know. I'm like, oh, great. You don't even have, she has them covered for like the greenhouse effect, but she doesn't have to have them inside because of, complete snow or
it's 45 and drizzly here today, which it's been that way for a couple weeks straight. So
yeah, it's like it's drizzly here. I know. I got a crimper. Real talk. I bet you haven't heard a crimper in 20 years. I got a crimper, and so I crimped my hair.
I see it now. I see it. I see the crimping.
Love it. I love it. I want to crimp the whole thing giant. Like I was having a day, and I don't know why I bought a crimper. Y'all just whatever.
Somehow I'm not surprised you bought one though.
No, it arrived in the mail.
I feel like that's totally you. I don't know if that, what that means, but.
Yeah. Well, okay. Real talk. I watched Mean Girls yesterday. And so I am not a mean girl, but I was feeling the vibe of and so I bought it the other day and it came today and I was like, this is a sign I need to crimp my hair. So it's fun. But yeah, I wish there was a cosplay I could crimp my hair for. Could you imagine?
You could go as Cyndi Lauper and then, there you go.
I could do a Jim and the hologram thing. There's a lot of people that listen buy their wigs from Arta Wigs, which is fine. Arta Wigs is great. They have small and large. I love Arta Wigs, but I will say, Rockstar Wigs has a larger cap for me, and I have what's called a double crown, so the wig caps don't fit me right. And the Rockstar Wigs fit me so much better. And even when I had all my big thick hair,
I'm curious what double crown means.
It's like the one spot where your hair goes out and like does the patterning hair. I have like a lower and an upper.
Oh, really? And that's
called have so many
cowlicks. It's called a crown.
Double crown. That's what my hairdresser told me.
Yeah, crazy.
I Googled it because I was like, what's this? And it is issue with the wigs, for lack of a better word, they nipple at the top.
Yeah.
On me. So I have to like
they kind of like go to a.
Yeah, so I have to adjust all my wigs manually, and the Rockstar wig.
Yeah, you don't want nipply wigs. That's bad.
No, it looks so weird. I look like a cone. Like I'm trying to almost get to like I'm related to a cone head. Like a conehead cousin. So I ordered from Rockstar Wigs, and the quality's incredible. My whole point in bringing this up is obviously it's good to know about other wig distributors. The price is comparable. More styles, I'd say.
I've seen their name around, but I didn't know anything about like the quality of their wigs or anything.
So good. They're so thick, and they have a Jim in the hologram line, which is the best. I love it so much. I use the red one for my Ganondorf, and I have so many wigs. It's embarrassing, and I
have 0 wigs. So we'll just if we're keeping score here, but I'm not opposed to a wig. I'd try a wig.
Yeah. Well, the guy, Dr. Disrespect, he's a huge streamer, one of the biggest in the world right now on Twitch. He wears a wig every time he streams. Like that's part of his persona.
Oh, really?
And it's like he wears a giant mustache and this like butch black wig, and it's so funny. He looks sort of like a NASCAR driver is how I would describe his look.
When I did my gender bent Sergeant Calhoun, I tried a couple, just inexpensive, like Amazon $30 wigs or whatever.
Yeah.
They just all looked really goofy.
I tell you what, look, my main like problem with the wig is that the shine, but you can remove that. I removed it on my Alice wig with fabric softener.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
I didn't really have any problem like with the quality of the wigs I was trying. It's just the style. I just couldn't find a style that kind of looked Calhounish that fit. And that's why I ended up doing my hair like, because I don't know if people know this or not, but what I ended up doing was I did my hair like the dudes in the movie. So if you look in the movie and all the military dudes that are like her subordinates and stuff, they all have like the kind of military like half mohawk thing, and so I ended up just doing it that way, which I thought fit pretty well. But I did try wigs with her, but they looked really silly.
Jill just walked in here, but I don't know where she went. She's been gone for
she's a ghost.
She's probably outside spraying something. She's so quiet you can't hear her. She just wandered in over there. Yeah, cool. Something else I wanted to say. Did I talk about this on my podcast or on our podcast? Yeah. Two things.
Oh yeah,
I know we're getting close to wrap up time, but
I'm glad you remembered. I'm glad you remembered because I want to see it.
I did, and this is what triggered it. So my patrons, something I like to do is like, I'm that old Southern gal that just believes in like, you know, taking care of people to take care of me, and the support's been really nice. So some of my tiers, as people are tiered longer, it shows me how much, you know, and how long I'm sending out like gifts and stuff, like little things, because I asked for the addresses, so like they don't know it's coming. Yeah. Unless they listen to this, but I'm mailing it out tomorrow. So
just don't tell anybody that no one's coming.
The people that I know have purchased Sylvanas patterns or asked for it as their reward, because you get pattern rewards. I'm sending gems, Sylvanas gems I made, so that it'll complete their little breastplate. So it's like a little secret surprise. It's just like something I thought, like, I don't know. It's just, isn't it fun to get a little surprise in the mail? It is fun.
Absolutely, it is. It really is.
So I'm sending 2 girls Sylvanas gems to go with their tier rewards, and I'm sending I'm sending pins out too, a couple surprise pins. And what's funny is I have yours already ready to go. Matt comes in, he goes, dude, he's like, here's what we do. You draw a picture of your pin and you put it in the package, and then 3 days later we mail the real pin. So he gets it, and I keep telling him, I was like, that's evil though. But it was a funny prank, and I thought, I was like, maybe I should do it. But then I was like, nah.
I'd have been down for that.
Okay. I didn't want to be mean.
Yeah. Like, no, I wouldn't. No, I
have the other one delivered later.
I'm always up for some good-natured ribbon. So
okay, good. Well then,
I'll be actually very sad when you actually send it to me, because then I can't complain.
I know it's coming. Sucks, man.
I was just about ready to say something about it, and then you.
Yeah, nope. I wrote all the addresses down for the people that are going out to.
Because what I was gonna say was I don't know what that's like to just get something random in the mail like that.
And you're getting it now. Too late. But while we're here, so I finished the gluing all the underlight angler together and getting the pieces. It needs some paint touch up on like a couple pieces on the actual fishing pole, but I finished this piece, which if you're just listening, it is a reel of a fishing pole from the underlight angler.
The reel with the handle. The handle
World of
from
Warcraft.
the rod.
Yeah. And so I love this. It needs the red yarn, that's this candy apple red that runs up the whole fishing pole.
Yeah.
The weirdest part is there's no clear coat on this.
It's beautiful. That's the spastics.
Isn't it weird how when it dries, it like hardens and becomes clear coat, which is like weird.
Well, some paints are that way though.
I know. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I know. So, I now know.
Because like, have you ever used any of the Creatix colors, like Wicked colors?
Oh, I got that. I have so many.
Okay, those are self-sealing colors too. And in fact, you're supposed to hit them with a little bit of heat from a heat gun, and it.
Okay, I do know that. Yeah. My Farah, all of the paint on my Farah is Createx. It's all Createx with some other mixed in, like a little bit of Angelo's on certain pieces, and because. Like some of it stayed, like certain colors stay tacky longer. Yeah. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
I have shoulders behind me actually that have the this transparent brown by Createx. This particular just one color stays tacky, which is crazy. And so if I hit it with a hair dryer, it really makes a big difference. Yeah. And people have like paint curing booths, so it's a real thing. If it's tacky, try a hair dryer.
Yeah, it is. I had that problem with the Fierce DD Link sword. One of the colors I used on it, I could never get it to dry even after I hit it with heat.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and because it was on the handle, right? But it wasn't so tacky that it was like causing problems. It was just annoying, right? Yeah. And sometimes stuff is so tacky that it messes up the paint. But that really wasn't the problem. It was just like it was annoying that it was still tacky. And I ended up just clear coating it with shellac in it.
Yeah. I know certain things you can get away. Like trust me, there are a few times that I'm like, well, this is tacky, but like it's gotta go. I gotta send it or I gotta mail it. So
shellac is often my go-to for things.
It's because it's that natural. It's that resin. Resin can be such a cure-all. It's different. It's not like spraying like a clear coat polyurethane or polyacrylic. You may not get away with it there.
You usually don't run into like issues with compliance with other things with shellac. So
shellac is just, you can get away with so much.
Since it's technically a resin, it doesn't have like a chemical compound that usually reacts to other stuff. So, and for whatever reason, it hardens it to itself really well because of what it is. So that's how I solved that problem. That's how I solved that problem. So
I mean, I've done it too. It works well. Speaking of sealers, the polyacrylic that I mentioned before, it comes in like a teal. You guys have seen it. You probably sealed shelves with it in your house. It's like a clear polyacrylic thing.
Yeah, Minwax polyacrylic.
Yeah. So I tested 3 different varnish, polyacrylic, a couple different things on something around this room somewhere. And dude, that polyacrylic is so good.
Really? Do you like it?
What the heck, man? I sealed my shelves with it in my house. So but I happened to have it left over and thought, well, we're going to try it. Let's just try everything today. That stuff is it didn't show one single brush stroke. It self-leveled really well.
Yeah. It's really nice. I don't know why I've never thought of using it like on any props or anything, but I used to use it all the time when I was doing woodworking. That was like my go-to. That was my go-to
all
finish.
The wood in my house I did with it.
Because I used to work a lot with maple because I like that whitish color of maple. And so I always natural clear finished it, and I used polyacrylic all the time. So
and it dries so fast.
And I know is it Little Sparks? She likes to use. There's another competing company called Varathane, and I know she likes to use Varathane on a lot of things too, which is also a similar type finish. I mean,
like they water-based,
Yeah, well, Varathane they have like their standard finish, which is like oil and really kind of smelly and stuff, and then they also have an acrylic based version too. So there are some good clear wood finish, that really made for woodworking that can work in our hobby as well. That's kind of why I default to shellac, because that was kind of something I used a lot with woodworking. And you're right, the polyacrylic, it's good stuff. In fact,
and I sprayed out my critter gun too, which is something that's like cuts down on rattle can.
Oh, really? You sprayed it, huh?
Well, because it's so thin.
Yeah.
Like really, you could spray it out of my Pash, I got the Pash spray gun.
Like that.
Like I could spray it out of that too.
Yeah.
It's for like taxidermy stuff.
I hadn't thought about spraying it before, but because it brushes really well with
you don't need to spray it
with foam brushes. It brushes really well.
So. Yeah, that's what I did the shelves with. So I'm really surprised that it's such a nice glossy finish too. I'm gonna try it on an actual prop. So I wonder. I'm curious now. I wonder how flexible it is. Like if you could use it. Probably not, but I'm not gonna put it on anything flexible.
Well, that's right. Because now I'm thinking it's like, I wonder if you could use that on foam, but I bet it would crack.
But you could use shellac on foam.
Yeah, shellac will crack too, though.
So much. Well, only really thick though.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean true. Like it'll wrinkle? Wrinkle effect.
Well, you might get those. I think I used some on some foam once, and I got. Maybe it was too thick or something, but I got like those really fine spider, like those like spider web cracking,
Yeah, like crinkly wrinkled things. Yeah. As long as I don't if I put it on a spot, it just depends on where I'm gonna bend. Like I'll try to make sure that I don't have like a lot of shellac on a spot that's gonna bend, and like the shellac will be on like the front or something.
Oh, that
like
makes
on my
sense.
chest piece.
Yeah.
So it's like, but if I do have it too heavy on a spot and it does crinkle, like it definitely does like the wrinkly crinkle thing. It's on my dredge upstairs actually, now I think about it. And that one it still stayed so smooth in the front, but I squeezed it to pack it, and like the edges, obviously it looked pretty stupid and bad there.
Yeah, that happens.
But I expected that. I made that was like the cheapest, fastest costume I've ever made to date. It was so fast, all foam build, just fastest thing I've ever done. Like it was so crazy, but it needs a little. I was thinking about taking it to. Oh, I'm a guest actually while I'm here. At NC Comic Con's Oak City Con in March.
Yeah, that's coming up, right?
Yeah, 17th through the 18th. It's the first con that's invited me as like a full-fledged guest in my state, and I'm really excited. The voice of Farah will be there. I am bringing my Mecha Queen Farah.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
I'm so excited because I didn't actually get like photo shoot photos of it, so I'm hoping to get some. And I can't travel with that one because it's 3 boxes worth of shipping. But because it's a con in my state, I actually get to bring my
it with
baby.
you. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm really excited to, they actually emailed me about potentially doing a panel with her.
Oh, wow.
And it would be like the look. Yeah. And it would be really fun to even moderate it.
Yeah.
And do like that process. So I'm excited for that, of actually getting to experience the con with her there in my fair, and get some cool pictures, hopefully. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, I have to touch it up because I finished that costume and didn't add like the felt and the silicone little strips that I do to keep stuff from rubbing.
Yeah.
So, it like rubbed. It rubbed like a baby's, like you rub a baby's butt. It rubbed. So it's
So you got costume rash, is what you're saying.
I got costume rash. Yes. Well, the costume got it rash to it. It gave its rash.
Oh, it gave itself rash.
Yeah, on like certain spots. So I have
so you're talking about like when the armor actually like where armor touches itself or whatever, and because of your movement, it rubs against itself, and then you have all these
and like
all these like little wear
that go up on the thighs. They got my arms, and my solution to that is the flexible. This is a weird thing, but the blister bandages that go on the back of your heels.
Yeah.
They're clear. So I cut the back of that and then put that just a little tiny bit. It's like furniture things for your house too.
Yeah.
And that way it doesn't really obstruct the paint the way that felt does, like felt velvet to protect rubbing. Instead, I put this little clear stuff. So that has to go on the tips to protect it from scratching the arms. But I had them in my suitcase and didn't put them on at the con. Just forgot. Yeah. This was in such a hurry. So there's
you were a little busy at BlizzCon though. So
yeah. But it's I'm excited to get it touched up and take that. And then I thought my whole point in bringing this up was I thought that maybe I would bring my Dredge, just because I really like that costume. It's just a fun, cute costume. It has like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles feet, which are just so fun. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just a fun thing. But I can't decide if I want to bring it out or not. I don't know.
Well,
I feel like the feet need a little bit.
At least you get to do Farrah though, so.
Yeah, I mean, I could just do Farrah and then just normal the next day, because I'll be doing panels and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I do any kind of like panels or demonstrations, obviously I can't do a demonstration or a panel in Farrah. Like I can't even sit in
because Farrah needs to be seen, because that's a pretty legit costume.
It's so fun. It's just I feel so. But like I wish that I had time to. I should finish my face cast. Like
yes. Make it happen.
But I took on these 3 pattern commissions, Eric. Why? Guys, just.
Okay, in case our listeners haven't noticed, Jackie has a hard time saying no.
I said no to my first job the other day, and it was really hard, and they were really nice, and they came back to me 3 different times after with offers.
Oh man, so, you really stood hard on that one.
So, but it was and it had nothing. I wanted to work with them so badly, but it was the deadline.
The deadline was just ridiculous.
Yeah. And so guys, do not be afraid to say no. Like, stand your ground, say what you feel like your time is worth. Companies understand. It's not like you're being mean. I definitely want to work with this company again. I absolutely was very polite and positive, and I think that I left that door completely wide open. Yeah. So, and you know what, pass it on to someone, recommend other people. I do that. Yeah. I was like, I have these people that I think could do it at that price at that time. So, but
cool.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Pass it on. There's a lesson for the day.
Yeah, pass it on.
Whether it's a box of makeup or cool jobs that you don't have time for.
Yeah, that's right. That's the lesson of the day. Yeah. And even though I make my own patterns, I bought Ted's patterns the other day. I realized I was like, wow, I haven't supported Ted in a long time. I was going through my stack of patterns and found his old helmet. Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to go buy some Ted patterns. So, nice. And then just promote your buddy. It's definitely, that's right. It comes back when you pay it forward. It does. Kind of like being just a wall mute, where you're just like, you're existing in your space and not spreading your color on anybody else or letting anybody else spread their color on you, and just kind of like a muted gray against the wall. Life might not be that colorful, like it's good to spread it out a little bit. Come to life, illuminate.
All right.
I just said a bunch of nonsense. Hope you guys like that. This is Jackie's youth wisdom nonsense for the day.
On that note, I think I'm calling this episode done.
I think we're done. Yeah,
we're done.
Put a knife in it. That's what I say.
Put a knife in it.
What is the saying? Put a stick in it.
Put a fork in it. It's done.
Put a fork in it. Put a stick in it. I go from knife to stick. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, okay, Jackie's slow descent into madness.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you. Next time.
Wait. Oh wait. Before we wrap up, one thing.
Stop.
One thing. Did you stop it? No. If you have seen Star Trek Insurrection and you've made it this far in the video, please tell me below if you liked it or didn't like it.
Insurrection?
Yeah.
Why Insurrection?
My dad sent me a text. He's like, Star Trek Insurrection's on Stars. I know it's your favorite movie, but the internet says it's the worst one. Thanks, Dad. Okay. He just decides to tell me that. And I was like, I didn't know that everybody hated it. I loved it.
Is it your favorite movie?
Growing up, I really liked it.
Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, I also like Jar Jar Binks and Star Wars growing up.
Okay, this is true. That's a whole nother conversation for another day.
All right. So anyways, if you made it this far, leave me some info in the comments about.
We need to know. Inquiring minds want to know how many people actually enjoyed Star Trek Insurrection.
Yeah, please. Or Jar Jar Binks. I will take.
Or Jar Jar Binks. All right.
All right.
We'll see you next time on Crafting Geek.
Bye, guys.
Bye.